So I once again welcome you all to this 71st session of Leadership Talks. As you all know that these talks are being organized by India International Education Council and School Knowledge Solutions. India International Education Council is a not-for-profit organization which is working in the field of education. It has collaborators from 12 countries. IIEC aims to create a better world through education. It also aims to build quality centers for elementary education, which are approachable for all kids. It tries to find best educational practices across the globe and find ways to implement those in Indian institutions. It is also, trying to create more awareness on hygiene and learning disabilities. It publishes a magazine called World Education Review and many other educational reports. It aims to build 100 chapters in different cities by 2022. It will soon open its membership for institutions and individuals. It imparts training for leaders, teachers, students, and parents. As I shared that this is the 71st session, we have so far organized 70 sessions. In these 70 sessions, we have received 6,632 registrations, 5,807 questions. We have seen participation from 5 countries of India, USA, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Nepal. In India, we have seen participation from 19 states and 78 cities. We aim to organize 200 sessions. We would be reaching out to 100,000 educators, 20,000 institutions, and 1,000 plus eminent speakers. Like today's speakers would be joining us to share their views, to share their ideas on national education policy. Now, I would request, please join me in welcoming our key speakers for the day. Our first key speaker, Mr. P.S. Kalra. Kalra ji is principal with Vikas Vidyalaya, Ranchi, Jharkhand. He has a teaching experience of over 30 years. He has served in various positions at the most prestigious schools of India. He is associated with CBSE as a member of tele-counseling team, deputy city coordinator CBSE, head examiner, member inspection committees, observer and mentor of CCE training, and resource person for various CBSE initiatives like CC and SGAI. So far, he has organized and conducted over 200 workshops for teachers, students at various levels all over India. Mr. Kalra has authored books on mathematics, lab activities, and test books in mathematics too. He has received many awards and honors. He has received certificates, of appreciation from the CBSE chairman for his contribution as member tele-counseling team since 2013. He's also the recipient of a letter of appreciation for 2 consecutive years from Honorable Minister of Human Resource and Development for excellence in education. He's also received a Sports Promotion Award, Jyotirmay Award 2011 for excellent contribution in the field of education, Gyan Ganga Award for excellence in the field of education. He's also received Best Teacher Award constituted by Lions Club Lake City, Bhopal in 2010. We welcome you, Kalra sir. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you. Next key speaker, Sunita Chopra ji. Sunita ji is principal with Delhi Public School, Rewari, Haryana. She is an eminent education leader with decades of experience. Under her leadership, Delhi Public School, Rewari has been ranked as #1 school in Rewari for past many years. She has received many awards and recognition for her contribution to the field of education. We welcome you, Sunita ma'am. Thank you for joining. Next key speaker, Ashu Mehta ma'am. Ashu Mehta ji is principal with SS Mota Singh School, Paschim Vihar, Delhi. She has had an illustrious career of 28 years in her institution in different capacities as a senior teacher of accountancy and a business studies, a supervisor, vice principal, and now the principal. Under her leadership, the school's role in social services such as Delhi Schools Literacy Project and other community and environmental protection programs has seen a new dimension. The team spirit instilled by her in the institution ultimately aims at higher student achievement. As an educator, Ashu Mehta ji believes in creating a healthy school environment with her supportive and responsive attitude towards her student and staff members and the parent community. We welcome you, Ashu ma'am. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you. Our next key speaker, Mr. Aditya Bisaria. He's a managing director with the Ganges School. He is an educationist since last 17 years with specialization in early childhood education. He's a noted speaker, motivator, trainer, A counselor of children and parents, he believes in inclusive growth of students. He's also the founder director of Ganges Fanshala. He's the manager of BBHB Inter College. He's also the manager of KKH Girls Junior High School. He's a dedicated educationist who loves to work cohesively with children, parents, and teachers to create a child-friendly and scientific and happy environment, both at home and at school, which aims to achieve holistic development of children. He is a follower of educational guidelines as laid by Swami Vivekananda and Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, which ensures that holistic education is achieved by the children and parents in collaboration. He has been awarded with the titles like Edu Icon, Mr. Motivation 2018, Acharya Chanakya Shikshavid Samman, Nation Builder Award, Sanjeevani Seed of Knowledge Award, among many others. We welcome you, Aditya sir. Thank you for joining. It's an honor. Our next key speaker, Dr. Puneet Goswami. Unfortunately, due to some emergency, he won't be able to join us today. Next key speaker, Mr. Sunil Dangi. Sunil ji is co-founder and CEO of eMango Education Solutions. Sunil ji is an IIT graduate from IIT Kanpur. He is having master's degree in mathematics and scientific computing. He is an actually also the member on Institute of Actuary United Kingdom. He has worked with many renowned institutions like ICICI Prudential, HSBC, Financial Risk Advisor at Ernst & Young, India and United Kingdom. He's an entrepreneur for last 6 years in telecom, food and education sector. He has been doing research on career counseling for last some years. Based on that research, they have come up with a wonderful solution called eMango, which is a digital career counseling platform. We welcome you, Sunil sir. Thank you for joining. Our next key speaker, Mr. Savio John. Savio is head of quality with Torrens. He is a professional musician, especially a singer, songwriter, and guitarist. He's been performing since a very young age and has toured multiple cities, performing in various venues. He is also a gospel musician and has featured on multiple TV shows. He's currently working with Torrens Music and heading quality and delivery excellence in India. Since the past 8 years, he has been working with institutions engaged in vocational education, handling business development, strategy, and implementation. Savio has always been vocal about making music a compulsory subject in schools, as the creativity, discipline, communication that it demands would help students become better individuals. Savio has authored vocal curriculum for Torrens and conducts vocal workshops across various schools in India. We welcome you, Savio John. Thank you for joining. With this, I would request our key speakers to share their opening remarks in the first part of this session before I come back to you for your main talk. So I would request Ashu Mehta ma'am, if we can begin with you.
Yeah, sure.
Namaskar. Yeah.
Right. Namaskar to all. I feel privileged to be a part of this forum. We are here to discuss NEP 2020, the biggest transformation proposed for our education system. However, the question is, are we prepared for this paradigm shift? My focus area today is the use of technology in education. The present pandemic has definitely brought us closer to technology, and our survival without it seems to be impossible. We all have faced teething problems, isn't it? But gradually, we have embraced the virtual learning process. And the scenario of virtual world is become the present time. The lesser privileged sections still are not in the realm of education. It sets off alarm bells for all of us. How is the government proposing for 100% inclusion of the learners at all levels? That is more important to know right now, being technology as a part of NEP 2020. Well, I will go in the detail of it later. Thank you. I, Mrs. Ashu Mehta from SS Moda Singh School.
Thank you, Ashu ma'am. Certainly, the execution would be a key. If we need to achieve the successful implementation of national education policy, we'll come back to you, ma'am. Now, I would request Aditya ji, if we can have your opening remark.
Namaskar. Thank you so much for this initiative, and I feel privileged to be a part of it. Definitely, collaborative learning and sharing experience will enhance everyone's experience, and I am going to take away a lot from this session too. Now, if I say why NEP, now if I compare the education system and the success result of our educated students with that of our Indian success stories, as that of Sachin Tendulkar, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, choreographer Remo D'Souza, chef Sanjeev Kapoor, Javed Habib, Shehnaz Hussain, Bill Gates, Dhirubhai Ambani, I realize, and not only me alone, all of us realize that educational degree has got no relation with the success in real life. If you are not a great degree holder, that does not mean you are not going to be successful and empowered in your life, either be it professionally or socially. So the current NEP has got all the provisions for empowering our new generation with this current trend so that they are not just feel tight-handed with the process of achieving a degree. Rather, they are able to make their life useful and contribute not only for their own development but for the development of their society and their own country. And I would be sharing my views and the emphasizing mostly upon the literacy part, although I can go for all, but I thought literacy is something which everyone should understand why this shift and how this literacy should be handled in this new design format. Thank you.
Thank you, Aditya sir. And certainly, we all need to work in a collaboration to achieve that desired target of education to create, to achieve that holistic development in all parts. Thank you, Aditya sir. We'll come back to you. Now, I would request Sunil Dangi ji, sir, your opening remark.
Good morning, everyone. Uh, Aditya ji and Anshu ma'am was saying, Aditya ji was talking about the relationship between the people those are actually doing and what they have studied. And Anshu ma'am was talking about the use of the technology in the education. So I'm very happy that in the new education policy, it has given extra wings has been given to the childs that after class 10 now they will be choosing the subject instead of the streams, and that's a very positive move. But having said that, that could also lead to the confusion. Earlier there was enough confusion that which streams should be chosen. Now they will be choosing the subject, the more confusion will be there, more the option, more confusion. Now how we can help and how we can use the technology for the deciding the right path, right career for the child. And we have been doing our research for almost 2 years on that, and with IIT Delhi, their professors are involved in it. So I will be talking about that how career counseling can be done with the help of technology, with the minimal human intervention required. So that's what I'm going to talk about. Thank you.
Thank you. Right. Now, I would request Mrs. Evie John, sir, your opening remark.
Very good morning to everybody, and thank you. And I respect the fact that everybody has taken their time out on the last day of this year when uh, everybody, would be busy planning their evening today. I was going through the NEP since the past few days, and I see that the NEP has uh, started talking about formally introducing arts, classics, history, literature, music, and other performing arts as well. And we, being a music solution provider, find it a very welcome move, considering music itself in the NEP 2020, which has been mentioned over 20 times. And I feel that a well formed course at a fundamental level will lead to proper selection of course choices later on in a child's life. And what is commendable is that the NEP has addressed so many diverse aspects. There is a lot of focus which has been given on 21st century skills such as communication, critical thinking, collaboration, creativity, and overall, I feel the focus is on experience based, experiential, holistic learning. I think All this will help the students equip themselves with the skills, with the practical skills required for life. And thank you so much, Rajuji, for having me over, and congratulations on organizing the 71st session. Thank you. Looking forward to the rest of the day.
Thank you, thank you. You all, got agreed to join us on this 31st morning. So, this itself makes this session a very special one, Savio. The pain was visible, but we would like to, make it more, engaging and interactive, with the thoughts which are going to get exchanged here. So with this, we come to the second part of the session, which is the main talk session. I'll come to all key speakers for your main talk. Time limit would be 8 to 10 minutes, and then we have received a few questions. We would like to present these questions. So before I invite our first key speaker, Ashu ma'am, I would like to share few things, few learnings which we have received during our 70 sessions. Many people, and I believe almost everyone, believe that this is a wonderful document. All have praised this document, all have hoped that this would be a milestone if executed well. Though the same number of people believe that execution would be would be difficult too. So it would be very difficult to achieve the exact fruits which are aiming for. A lot of eminent educators like Ashu ma'am, Aditya sir, the people who participated in earlier sessions, they suggested like the failure of CC, the failure of other kind of such initiatives. So these are the examples of why we need a more collaborative, why we need a more sincere approach towards the execution. So I would also request all of you, if you can also suggest your interpretation of these, different points mentioned in the NEP. Also, if you find some challenges, also if you find you have some suggestions to share with other educationists, because your suggestions, your thoughts would be shared with a lot of other people through videos, or eventually we would be compiling all the thoughts, perspectives into a document, and we will be presenting the document to the Ministry of Education and all other stakeholders. With this, I would request Ashu ma'am, if we can have your ideas, your views in detail. Ashu ma'am.
Thank you, Harshul. No, Rajul.
Yes, ma'am.
So greetings to one and all again, as I have going to speak about the use of technology. Integrating technology with education against all odds. The teachers and children in urban areas have managed fairly well, but the very important objective of our NEP 20 is universal education can be achieved only when technology reaches each and every child of India, the remotest areas. Here I would like to put forward a few suggestions from my own side, some of which have been taken up, but not taken care of in the true spirit. What I feel, let me present this with the help of a PPT. I want the presentation of a PPT along, so you can have a better look for the things. Could you all see the PPT?
Yes, ma'am, we can see that.
Yeah. So as you can see on this slide itself, that we have two areas of concern that comes to our mind. How to ensure that e-learning reaches every child. Second, how to ensure that all teachers are able to blend e-resources in their classrooms. So the major challenges which we have to overcome, there are certain major players, those who have to play their role. Now, this providing the education, the use of technology, the major players are the government, the ISPs, the philanthropists, and of course, the teachers. Now, let me come first to the government role. What we expect from government as far as technology is concerned? What we expect? 100% internet access, and that 100% internet access should
Ashu ma'am, you have been muted. You are on mute now.
Okay,
Yes,
now can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I would talking about the ISPs. Uh, the government should provide 100% internet access, 100% electrification. They have done it already. So the target can be achieved by the government in the same manner. So they have to work on it seriously. The fact is that. Then we can talk about incentives, rebates, concessions to be given to the ISPs. Then the next can be small scale industries or small and medium enterprises. They are to be set up in rural areas. It can have a chain effect. What can be the chain effect? Providing more employment opportunities, then increasing the standard of living, of course, which will lead to better education facilities, even at the remotest areas. Now, coming to the digitalization, government is doing a lot in urban areas regarding digitalization of government schools. They may have provided e-learning materials, the smart devices in their schools. But what about the villages which are still left behind? Government must do something about it, providing them e-learning and other material, which I feel is the basic necessity. The underprivileged section must be given these vocational and skill studies education, apart from only the primary, like elementary is being given to them. But when we talk about skill and vocational, it is still lagging behind, which must be included in the technology with the help of technology in NEP 2020. So this can be done by the government, which is still under procedure, because things putting in NEP in the writing is not that useful until it has been implemented successfully. Coming to the next role player, that can be the ISPs, the internet service providers. What they are, without their support, we cannot use the technology advocated by NEP 2020. It will not be effective at all. They are the ones who take technology to the next level by reaching the masses, not only the classes, what we talk about normally. The question again is how to motivate these ISPs to undertake this difficult task, as the returns are very low, particularly in the villages where they won't find the money coming to them. How effectively they can contribute. For example, free internet connections, subsidized ISPs plans, installation of internet towers at highways, roadways, and connecting roadways, promoting Make in India products, which is also required, tapping the potential of second-hand digital devices, isn't it? Because all cannot afford the smartphones which are available in the market. So we even have to find out second-hand market devices, which can be made available to the villages and the far-off places of India. So what I expect, the government or ISP separately cannot do it. So public-private partnership can be the game changer, as we have to work together. Now, this can be about these two major players. Now, if I talk about the next role player is the philanthropists. These philanthropists have the objective of individuals or institutions working for social welfares and the causes. They can play a vital role by providing their online education services through ebooks, educational videos. You can see in this slide itself, there are many things which these philanthropists can come forward with and which they can collaborate with schools and colleges. In that manner, they can help. Here, I would like to mention something very important. The educated youth. Yes, I am talking about youth of India who can play a smart role through their smart devices by using the technology smartly, isn't it? So the youth of India is always having an impact, as if they write something and put on social media, it becomes viral within minutes. So the youth is the important aspect which can help the use of technology sitting at home and providing it to the masses. Last but not the least, the teachers. Let us not forget the role of the teachers. What I can say, who is the Sutradhar in this entire story. I, being a teacher, I always feel a connection with the students of mine. And if I get the technological advantage, then what I can help, the child can learn more. So the teacher needs to be fully updated. The question is now again, the teacher needs to be fully updated, competent, and trained to use e-resources. We have many of the teachers which are experienced, but they know only the blackboard chalk pieces where they work. But here we are talking about using the technology, which can be audiovisual aids, conducting PTM virtually, e-assessments, e-report cards, e-certificates. As you all know, nowadays, each and every extracurricular activity has become virtual. Even we conducted different inter-school debates where a lot of participation was there. Around 50 to 60 schools participated, and it goes beyond the boundaries, not only the Delhi schools, it can be all over India. So education is always having an important role. When we talk about technology, always play a vital role in education. So that is important to be heard. Now, if I come to this, I am proud to say that the teacher is the only human connect who can inculcate etiquettes, emotions, expressions, and obviously the e-resources into the learners and help them mold. So what I feel, these are the four role players who can come together and can make this NEP 2020, which in papers, if we will see, is quite effective, but it can be only if it is implemented seriously. I just want to conclude with the small lines. बड़े भारत बड़े भारत हम सब ये संकल्प उठाएं, तकनीकी शिक्षा की लौ जलाकर अशिक्षा का तिमिर मिटाएं, नई चेतना और जागृति से शिक्षित संपन्न समाज बनाएं, प्रगति के पथ पर चलें हम मिलकर, एक नए कल का आगाज कराएं, रहे न विद्या से कोई वंचित, रहे न विद्या से कोई वंचित, आओ मिलकर सब कदम उठाएं, आओ मिलकर सब कदम उठाएं, बड़े भारत हम सब ये संकल्प उठाएं. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ashu ma'am, for sharing your, these unique ideas. In fact, this is very rare when we hear, from an educator about the industries. This is so rare to hear, but also very pleasant. It was. Thank you, Ashu ma'am, for talking about the challenges we have at rural parts.
Yeah.
And absolutely, without expending the benefits of our development in every sense, without expanding that development to our rural part, we won't be able to achieve a larger goal. So absolutely right when you say that. So we all agree with that. So thank you, ma'am. I will come back to you with questions. Now I would request Aditya ji, sir, you are an entrepreneur, you are an educator, you are a motivator, you are, I would say, in a lot of areas. I believe, and I'm sure that you see national education policy with a different perspective. So we all are very excited to hear your ideas. What do you think about NEP?
Well, absolutely right what Ashu ma'am has said, in full agreement to that. So I'll just, I'm glad also she has touched those areas which I'm not touching, and I am touching those which she is not.
That's good.
So,
we will have more of it then.
So before I start about the NEP, like I'll just say two things. First, कुछ बात है कि हस्ती मिटती नहीं हमारी, सदियों रहा है दुश्मन दौरे जमा हमारा. So when we observe and analyze our rich Indian history, what we find out is India has been the land of educators who has been producing and sending educators to the world to educate them. And Swami Vivekananda is the most renowned and the recent person in our history whom we all recognize and admire. And India has been invaded by foreigners since centuries. So still, there is something unique about us, which is there in NEP now. So if I say before handling a knife to any child to cut the vegetables, first let's see, has the child developed that cognizance level to handle the knife? Will he be able to cut his finger or cut the vegetables? And secondly, will he be using it wisely or for some other purposes? So that is what the basic thing is. And NEP has provided this opportunity for all the educators and the parents to cultivate these habits in their child. How? I am telling. To start a journey, we need a destination. After the destination, we have to choose the path. And after choosing the path, we have to start our journey and cross the hurdles whichever are coming. Till now, there was no objective about creating the ability to desire to explore, creative thinking, critical thinking, analytical part. Developing entrepreneurs was not a part of our education policy in the current system. Our education policy had just one objective, that was पढ़ना लिखना सीखो ओ मेहनत करने वालों. Why this happened? Post Indian independence, our skilled laborers were not paid enough, and they were cheated, and a lot of mishappenings were there if we analyze our history. So this tendency of literacy came into our system. Second thing, when India got independence, we needed a bunch of white collar jobs to be handled by well-educated persons so that India can be a part of the developing world and come into the developing economy. Earlier, it was not that so. So that was the purpose of introducing literacy. But literacy and numeracy have certain more benefits and advantages, which is reflected in NEP. Now, when I am saying that, the government's role is to plan the policy and introduce it. So if I say, will the government go and fight on the border? No. The government plans the policy. Yes, gives the freedom to the soldiers, provide them with arms and ammunition, and then the soldiers take up the rest of the work. Similarly, we educators have got this policy. Now the educators have to collaborate among each other, along with the industry, along with the parents, empower themselves, empower each other, and work for the benefit of our children. It is not about self, it is about our country and our future. So what are the benefits of literacy and numeracy? There was a special way of treating people, diagnosing the diseases, something known as Nadi Gyan. So I have got the opportunity to meet one such person who used to just, by holding the hand nerves, diagnose the disease which are there in the body. Now, since that was nowhere written and he never communicated with anyone and shared, that process has vanished. And instead of doubting over it, if we would have analyzed it, how this is processed, is it right or is it wrong? Can we achieve it? Can we make it better? Then introducing that proficiency and supporting it with the current technology would have been a big, big boon for the human mankind. So that is what the one basic purpose of literacy and numeracy is. It allows us to further take up the research work already done by eminent professionals. Secondly, it also helps in understanding and evaluating the brain of the child, the thought process. कहा जाता है तलवार एक बार वार करती है, but शब्दों के वार बहुत बार होते हैं और कलम की ताकत जबरदस्त है. So if we analyze this statement also, what we understand is शब्दों के एनालिसिस करने से हमें बच्चों के थॉट प्रोसेस का आइडिया लग सकता है. For here, and to make it more understandable, I'll take the example of Guru Dronacharya, who has put a bird on the top of the tree and asked all his students to aim, and before releasing the arrow, ask them what did they saw. Only Arjun saw the bird's eye, and he asked Arjun to release the arrow to hit the target. Similarly, if we are able to analyze what the child has written, train him not to mug up and answer. Instead, whatever he has learned during his learning process of skills, which he has been working upon, express them in the words instead of just checking and analyzing for punctuation marks, for grammatical mistakes. We are analyzing his answers, his text for what is his thinking process, and then we are able to guide him out. Then definitely the world will be a better world. So if I take up that example of Guru Dronacharya, he had more than 100 students, and each student was proficient in a different skill. No one was excellent, no one was a failure. Only good results. If I see the example of Mahendra Singh Dhoni, he was a goalkeeper when he started, and a teacher analyzed him and picked him up for the Indian cricket team, and which we are now having the blessing of him along with us. And he has brought not only great change to the Indian team, but also provided us, the educators, to look into his leadership qualities and professional skills which he has learned, and to deliver the same into our students. So numeracy and literacy will help us in analyzing the thought process of the child, helping him overcoming his disabilities, helping us also to empower him for the next journey. It is not only about self-earning, but also about helping others. So the next generation will be able to take over the charge from where they have left. It is not about ourselves, it is about the whole world. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So I see that this policy is not only emphasizing on literacy part as an indicator for passing the exams. What it has done is, first, go for vocational training, develop the skills, get yourself creative. Next, move on and express in terms of the exams. Once you are done, you are prepared for the life. And in that process, yes, as Mr. Sunil told about confusion about choosing the careers, educators, along with the help of technology, can guide the students in the right path. Thank you.
Thank you, Aditya sir. You in a very well way you explained, why we need, why this is the time to relook at our education system. Also at the kind of deliverables we have, in the current time, and this policy comes at the right time. And you gave us the example that teacher has the power. Teacher has the power to, I would say, to define the future of its students, if that's trained in the right way. Thank you, Aditya ji. We'll come back to you with questions. And you have also set the tone for the next part. I'm sure Sunil Dangi sir would be happy about it. Sunil ji, I would request if we can have your ideas and your thoughts.
Thank you, Rajul. I was listening. I'm not an educationist, but yes, one of my co-founder is educationist in this one. So basically, I have been I can say that I have been the victimized of the current system, and that's why we have come up with this idea. When I was in class 10th, I wanted to study. I was good at maths, actually. I don't know I was good at maths or not, but I was among the top 0.1% student, those who scored the highest marks in CBSE. So that's so. As then everybody told me to go take the non-medical. I went for the non-medical, but I wanted to study economics also and political science. But that thing was not there. So I wish if this would have been at that time, then I would have loved to take the economics and all. So let's start with, ki, there is a what we felt is if I see my journey, I after 12th I went to IIT, and then after visiting the IIT, I started exploring the actuarial as a career. Then I went to on the actuarial career. I cleared few exams. I worked with the HSC Prudential, Ernst and Young, HSBC, and then I left the job, and then I became the entrepreneur. So I think the better path would have been after class 10. I should have taken, if someone would have told me what interest I have and what kind of personality I have and what is my aptitude. So I think the optimal path would have been that I would have taken the BCom, which is required for to understand the accounts and all. And then after that, I should have gone for some MBA. And then after doing 2-3 year job, I would have come into the in the entrepreneur journey, right? So that's because there's my problem also in this. So what I will do is I'll just present my screen, and I would request Aditya ji and Anshu ma'am that please give your feedback at the end, that how are you in the right direction or not. So let me present my screen. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is visible, sir.
Okay, thank you. So a name of the organization is eMango. It stands for Education Management on the Go. So there is we are trying to solve a problem, and the problem statement is conventional ways of choosing careers and admission planning for a child seems to be not the best way. Now, what is a conventional way of choosing a career? Generally, a student chooses a career under the influence of the guidance of the parents, peers, society, family, teachers. Now, the question is, the people, those who are guiding this child, are they aware of all the career options available? Do they understand the ability, personality, interest, and emotional intelligence of that particular child? Do they know the optimal path to reach at the epitome of any particular career? So the question is, the people, those are guiding the child, if they are not aware of all this, then they are not qualified. They are not qualified to guide a child. Now, what can happen due to the choosing the career in this way? It could lead to the dropouts. It could also lead to the unemployable degree holders. It could lead to the restlessness, and in a very rare and extreme scenario, it may lead to suicide also. And these are not just our assumptions; they are a fact for it. There are few newspapers. This is a Hindu news which says in last 2 years, around 2,500 students dropped out after taking admission in IITs. 94% of engineering graduates are not fit for hiring. In India, 1.5 घंटे में एक बच्चा सुसाइड कर लेता है. So I'm not saying कि only the wrong career choice is the reason for that, but there is a large it is happening largely due to because the people are choosing the career, they are not choosing the career in a right way. Ideally, they should the way they should choose. So this is the problem. Now I'm just jumping into what is the solution. As I said, the people those are guiding the child, they are not aware of the careers. Now there should be a digital platform where a child himself or the parents or whosoever is guiding the child can explore all the careers. And this career exploration platform must be very interesting, and it should be that it should be engaging for the child as well as for the parents. So what we have done is we have providing all the information in the audio visual content in a multilingual, because in India only 10% people understand English. बाकी सबको understand English and communication, those who can communicate in English, hardly 5% people would be there. So it is very important for the parents to understand that what about the career, and they can understand mostly in a Hindi. So we have made and that's an audio visual format. Anybody can access it anywhere they want. And next is, after exploring what is the best fit for a particular child. So for that, we are having a psychometric assessments, and those psychometric assessment are not the way it is being conducted. We are developing we are developing the games actually. We are converting all these psychometric assessments into the game, with the help of which we can find out the interest of the child and personality of that particular child and the aptitude. There are 6 types of interest, 5 types of personalities, and there are around 12 dimensions of the aptitude. Now, after finding the best fit for career for the child, the thing is that we need to tell the path, that what is the optimal path, that which stream they should choose or which subject they should choose, and then what are the colleges, what are the exams, and then the regular reminder for all this. So this is a survey which we did, and to convert the psychometric assessment into the gaming format, we are working with IIT Delhi, and we will be very soon we'll be working with the AI department of IIT Kanpur, computer science department, under which they are working with a psychologist as well as the technology. So we will be working with them for developing such tests. So this is our key team members. This is Professor Purnima. She's the head of psychology IIT Delhi. This is me. This is Nitin Nagpal. He's an educationist for the last 20 years. He's Dr. Vijay Pandey. He's a psychometrician. Basically, the people those who develop the psychometric test. He's working with us from France. She's Meera. She has been the counselor with IIT Delhi and all. Yes, they are psychologists. Karan is our development head. Mr. Neil Kamal is our advisor. And it's because we are bringing ease at every step. These are the few schools. There are many schools. I've just put some of the. So it is very easy to use. A school can just. We need to put a icon on their school website, and that's very easy to use. For example, this is one of the schools in which we have. This is one can click on explore career, and a child can start exploring that careers. It is that easy. And we are also developing our content is all the content is the audio visual format. One can easily go and he can see everything about a career, that what are the skills required, what are the future prospects, what are the salaries. We are making the videos in a very interesting way. So it's everything is audio visual.
Are you someone who has solid analytical and planning skills and good imagination? Do you have knowledge of marketing? Do you like writing contents? How good are you at social media? So
this is the way we are putting the information, and these are the every information. These are basically information required by the parents. I'm sorry, I think something else has been. Anyways, for example, dairy technology. So if you will go down, then there are, what are the salaries, what are the job trends of this particular career. So every information is available on this, and a child can always explore the he can always shortlist. This is a child dashboard where a child can explore careers. And for example, he like this, but he go to agriculture, biotechnology, and he like that career. He can just simply click on it, and this career will be shortlisted in his kitty. This is a wish list of the child. Similarly, he can easily go and explore other things, such as he can go and this is generally this is the question which is asked for the child. आप क्या बनना चाहते हैं? तो एक बच्चे के लिए बड़ा ही डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है इस सवाल का आंसर देना. दिस इज आवर कैरेक्टर हीरो. ही जनरली हेल्प्स. He basically help the child will play a game, and the best fit careers will come out for that particular child, because there are lots of AI behind that. And these are the college and exams where a child can explore all the colleges. It is for the class 11, 12 people. They can, this is a single platform basically where all the information is available. What is the NIRF rank? What is the placement? What are the exams and course offer? If you want to shortlist, you will simply click on it and it will be saved as in cart. So the notification regarding this particular college will keep on sending to the child on his on his mobile number or on his email ID, registered email ID. Similarly, there are lots of exams. There are exams. Generally, a child forget which exam should I appear for, how to apply, what are the criteria. Everything is here. For example, this is an exam. He can see what are the career offered, what are the opening date of this, what is the cut off, what course is offered. If you want to shortlist, click on this. It will be added in this card. So it is that easy, and everything is also coming in an app format. And this all the information will be available to the schools as well. Let me show you that these are school dashboard actually, that how many students of that school have been registered on this portal, and what are the counseling session has already happened, and what are the knowledge resources. That's everything like suggestions, specially wish list, etc. And the student of that, how many student of 9, 10th, 11th, 12th has been registered on this portal. So this is the school dashboard, and this is the just a sec. Let me open it. Yeah, this is the app actually, where a student can easily, this is a student app where you can explore what are the internships, what are the scholarship, what are the competitive exams, and what are the competitive events going on. And especially from the NEP point of view, the platform which we have, this is the, just a sec. This is the student dashboard. We were talking about the holistic and information, everything. So basically he can save all his past I mean to say past report cards into it. School can save all the marks of the student, and if there is a record of a student for a larger period, then that every information will be presented in a graphical format. So that's this is about all about the platform. I will stop sharing my screen now.
Right.
So this is a basically this is a one platform where a child can explore. This is the way of use of the technology basically, and by the help of technology, we are able to keep the people are talking about the philanthropy and everything. So it's a kind of philanthropy thing. We are keeping the cost very low. It's almost 100 rupees per student per year. So this is the help of technology we are able to do it. So that's all I wanted to share about this platform which we are developing. Thank you. Thanks, Raja.
Thank you, Sunilji, and absolutely, in today's time when we have, hundreds of options available, so the same is the confusion. So absolutely, we need, more solutions, more, technical solutions how to arrive on that very important decision. So big thanks, Sunilji. I will come back to you with questions. Now I would request Savio. Savio, you represent the art, the side of education. And
Yes.
for the first time, NEP has recognized, and I would say has formally accepted the
Correct.
contribution of co-curricular activities. In fact,
Absolutely.
the stress upon the co-curricular activities. So we would like to understand how do you see the national education policy, and what would be your perception about the future of our country's education system?
Sure.
Savio, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Rajulji. I would not particularly like to address the aspects of the entire education system because there are many stalwarts who have been a part of these discussions since the past 72 sessions, and they have added so much value to decoding the NEP. I would like to, in particular, only talk about music and how music helps a child and why I think that proper teaching of music is very important on the lines of the NEP. So I would like to begin by speaking about where we started from. We are a company which originated in the United States 13 years back. We started as Torrance Music, and presently we are in over 200 public schools in the US. Now, these public schools are different from private schools. What are public schools? Public schools are these government-funded institutions. They are basically cash strapped. They do not have a lot of finances there. They have issues related to funding. But in spite of that, what we have observed, what we see is that there are excellent lab facilities. Only if I talk about music, in the classrooms, there are like 30 or 40 instruments in every single class, whether you say it's guitar or keyboards or drums. Now, what are they doing is they are trying to give a proper hands on to every single child. Every kid gets an opportunity to play an instrument. And unless and until we allow the children a hands on, we will not be able to give the proper amount of teaching which is required, be it in any stream, particularly in music. It is very different by teaching music on the whiteboard or the blackboard and giving a child an instrument in his hand. And we want to see this kind of a shift happening, at least with this new NEP. And this is the kind of setup we do not even see in premium schools in India. Unless we allow the children a one on one access to facilities, we will never see the change and value addition which we desire. Overall, we should value the contribution of music in the well being of humans as a whole. We need to streamline the whole idea of music in the learning curriculum. And I feel there needs to be a proper acknowledgement of the different types of intelligence, this concept which is put forward by Howard Gardner, where they are talking about the various kinds of the nine various types of intelligence. A lot of importance needs to be given to aptitude. In the previous session, we had a gentleman by the name of Mr. Arora. He spoke about how he took up playing the guitar. He is a director of one of the schools in the north. He speaks about how he took up the guitar during this lockdown and how he learned it within 7 months. And today, on New Year's, he is going to be performing. And he said himself that if proper music training would have been given to him since childhood, today he would probably not have been the director of an institution, but he would have been a musician. And a great amount of research has already been done in music, and many studies show that music directly impacts the cognitive development of the children. Areas like social, emotional, motor skills, whatever they are it's an overall development in the brain. There have also been studies which have shown, if a mother is listening to classical music with a child in a womb, there is significant amount of development in the womb itself. Like today, somebody was mentioning in the talk about cases of depression, anxiety, and stress. I think Sunil Dangi ji was mentioning about it. We equip children with a tool like music, and it helps them not only in these times of crisis but lifelong. One of the most renowned music directors in our country, Mr. Ehsan Nurani, who also happens to be a director in Torrens Music, the company which I am representing now, he would say that he would be able to study better and perform better in exams with music playing in the background. One of the schools in central India, the principal had called me a few months back to meet her. After we introduced the music program in the school, she told me and she swore to it. She said that after this music program has been introduced in the classrooms, there have been up to 100% reduction in classroom violence and destruction of properties. And she would tell me how they had to invest hundreds and thousands of rupees in repairing deliberately damaged equipment, notice boards, furniture, laboratories, etc. And music helps the children channelize all these extra energies, and bringing them to a single channel of focus. It puts them in touch with the human side. And in one of the previous sessions, I always quote it when I'm given an opportunity to speak because this sentence has moved me very much. The gentleman said that in India, we are just not looking to become a superpower, but we need to have leaders. And we need to have leaders who have a good amount of holistic development in their background. And this will just not happen at the graduation level. It needs to start as early as childhood care. And I feel that the regulation of the preschool level, which has been prescribed in the NEP, is a very, very important move. And owing to the new NEP, children passing out after a few years will get an opportunity to think independently and they will become decision makers. But with all these new aspects and music coming around into the picture, I feel that a certain expertise is required to introduce music, Rajulji, like what we were also discussing previously. Because, there is a great dearth of instructors, of experienced instructors. And then they would require, and we would require a huge amount of infrastructure and equipment as well. So in these conditions, in these situations, a company like us would come. We are not just aggregators. We provide music teachers. We provide 360-degree solution for music with curriculum, training, around the clock, upskilling training, equipment to the level of 20, 30 guitars, 20, 30 keyboards, 10, 15 drum kits in a class. We provide an overall comprehensive solution. And I feel for this program to be successful in our country, in a country which is as vast as ours, there needs to be a proper theoretical and application based integrated program. Over to you, Rajulji. Thank you.
Thank you, Savio, and absolutely we need that kind of I would say comprehensive approach. We need to
Yes.
achieve those things, and you rightly said that Mr. Parush Arora, he is the director with the big school in Bareilly.
Correct.
He shared these thought that if he would have got this kind of awareness,
Yes.
at the
Yes.
school level, he would have opted a different career. And today is a concern. So if I'll as I get the link, I would share with all of you. Just, if you get time, just attend that session. So with this, we come to the end of this wonderful interaction. We have received few questions. Would like to present these questions to our key speakers. And before I start presenting these questions, I'll take a minute in explaining what exactly we are doing at School Lalaji Solutions. So I'll share my screen here. So, some of you are already aware the kind of services School Allergy Solutions is offering, and some of you may heard it for the first time that this kind of service provider also exists, right? So, School Allergy Solutions is India's largest one-stop solution platform for educational institutions. It is present in 42 cities, working with somewhere around 4,500 institutions. It primarily helps institutions in three ways. It helps institutions in buying the right thing from right people at right price. It also helps educational institutions in selling their old items like their buses or old generator or old furniture. It also helps institutions in raising money, that may be in terms of loans or fee financing, like that. Why there is a need for such kind of platform? In 2020, or in fact 2021, in today's time, we have tens of thousands of education suppliers, education companies. In fact, just in coding, we have more than 200 companies got registered, and 15 of them have got funding in last 1 year. Right. So, how to find a right coding platform, for our students, or how to find any company, for our students, which is supplying any kind of service or product. Do we really have the bandwidth to meet everyone, to explore everyone's product? Do we really have those research and development departments, or the expert procurement departments in our respective institutions, who can meet everyone, every of those suppliers, who can explore all of those products and services? So this is a bit difficult. Our bandwidth doesn't allow that. So here we come in. We understand your school, we understand your taste. We also try to understand your actual requirement, and accordingly we meet these companies. We negotiate with them. We understand their product. We understand their detailed features, and then accordingly, after doing a filtration, we recommend a few companies after negotiation with you. So these are the different areas where we are helping educational institutions. We are providing smart classrooms, class uniform, insurance, diesel. We are also delivering diesel at the doorstep of your school in some part of Delhi NCR at a cheaper rate than the market price, at 75 paisa per liter cheaper. We are also installing solar plants, language lab, security solutions, furniture, recruitment, music classrooms, healthcare, robotics, STEM STEAM labs, career counseling, stationery, or digital marketing, IT solutions, educational tour, generators, learning tools, and finance. and we take the guarantee that will save at least your 5 to 7% of your expenditure. That's kind of additional 5% revenue generation. Last year alone, we helped educational institutions in saving 2 crore 40 lakh rupees in bus insurance only. These are some major highlights. 8 megawatt solar installation, 3,000 bus insurance we did last year, 400 plus smart classroom, 2,000 cameras, 350 plus training program, 56 old buses, uniform in 42 schools. By the end of 2021, we aim to reach out to 10,000 institutions. So we need your support, guidance, and blessings. So with this, we come to the end of this. Here, I'll start sharing the questions now. Ashu ma'am, I would request if you can present the first question to you. Right, first question is, it has come from Mr. A.K. Saxena. He's a principal with Scholars Pride International School, Faridabad. Mr. Saxena asked this question. What should be the most suitable, teaching and academic strategy, in the coming. So he has asked a very important question. Ashuman, I'm audible to you? You are on mute, ma'am. Okay, I'll present this question to Aditya sir. We'll come back to Ashuji. Aditya sir, what would be, he has asked for the crux of the entire thing. What do you suggest? What would be the suitable academic and teaching strategy?
Okay, perfect. So the summary will be this way: this education policy provides the parents the reason to change the direction of the students from rote learning to a better overall learning, which is meaningful and contributory to the society and the world. First thing, because why we all study? Just for one thing, to have a better life, to have a better reputation in the society, and to go for the comforts of lifestyle. Now, what are the reasons? Till now, they were provided just by passing the exam and earning a degree. And this policy provides us the provisions which Mr. Sunil has said, how the career was decided. Just the parents had the major role because it was all related to money earning. Now this policy is providing you the opportunity to go beyond that and actually develop the skills inside your child, motivate him, and don't feel harassed if it is taking time. It has the provision for 360-degree evaluation. It has the provision of changing the careers at the later stage. So all the provisions which are required for the betterment of a child are there into it. Now it is the role of the educators. As I said, a country is saved by the soldiers. Similarly, people are grown by the educators. So now it is the role of our educators to come, collaborate, and lead the path of change, not only for the children, but also for fellow educators and our parents also, and lead them to the right path. I hope I have answered.
Absolutely. Thank you, Aditya sir. We'll come back to you. Ashu ma'am, I believe now, yeah. So, Ashu ma'am.
I am here. Actually, I just went to pick up a call. So what you are asking about? Could you repeat?
The next question, yes, ma'am. I'm presenting the question to you. The question has come from Mr. Dinesh Kumar Tawar. Dinesh ji is a district education officer, principal with NDMC Education Department, New Delhi Palika Kendra. Dinesh Kumar Tawar ji has asked, what would be, what is your assessment on the change of curriculum? The amount of change in the curriculum required.
Regarding the curriculum which is being incorporated in NEP 2020, there are certain very good changes. Like they have given more stress on application-based things instead of only the rote learning or the theoretical part. Like we have started with art integrated learning, which has become a part of CBSE curriculum now, that each and every subject must have a practical knowledge. It can be form of drama or a dialogue or something creative, a project is to be made. So the children will become more and more of creative then instead of just having the simple learning of the topics which were already been found. And even in the curriculum they want to make it shortened because they want it in semester based. It can be in languages different. Regional language can be a part of it instead of giving only a stress on English. So our NAP 2020 is more of globalization, I can say, to become a world parallel. Not only we are talking about India as a country, because technology itself has made us closer to each other, so we should also compete with them. And that is something which I find in our latest curriculum. But the only point here comes again, the NEP suggesting so many things. But the core is if we are implementing it in the way they want it. It is just not like a eye wash that something is being given to a particular school and being told by the CBSE to take it into consideration in your chapters and etc. But it can be taken up wholeheartedly by each and every teacher to go with it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Absolutely, absolutely. You when you say that, NEP has the potential to make India more global. In fact, NEP has proposed that foreign universities must come to India, and in fact, they have given some target. Also, so it goes one step further in that way, and absolutely. So many people believe like you that this has potential to make India the Vishwa group. In true sense, if this executed well.
True.
So thank you, ma'am.
True.
I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you now. I would request Sunil Dangi ji. Sunil ji, this question is all about the career thing. So I'm sure you are the best person. This NEP has proposed a flexibility, in choosing these subjects. So how do you think that would help you help students, in terms of selecting the right career, and if you also perceive any challenges for the educational institutions?
Definitely, as it has allowed to choose the subjects. Of course, it is now the student can have a knowledge of the fields which they will be doing in their life. For example, the accounts kind of knowledge is very much required in every field. If someone wants to become a businessman, right? So they need to understand the accounts, and he is good also in physics, chemistry, maths. So that thing has been allowed, and it's a very beautiful thing. Now the question is that how it could be challenging for the schools to make how do they decide the period? A teacher now, there is a non-medical section, right? So now within the non-medical section, they will have to allow accounts also, right? The student will be reshuffling and everything will be happening. That would be a little challenge, but yes, if that challenge is acceptable, I'm sure that those who decide the schedule, they are intelligent enough in the schools. But definitely it is going to put a challenge for the schools, and it's not something that it's not doable. So it's beautiful thing, and for that we must take it wholeheartedly. And of course, because there is a lot of value in it for allowing the subjects, for example, and there should be a mechanism like the career counseling of things, especially the digital career counseling, which can help the student to choose the right subjects. They want to move in some direction. And for example, if a student is, I always keep on taking this example, if a student is choosing a physics, accounts, and music, now the biggest challenge is what he will become. What he will become. Right. So there is a one option which I have always in my mind, that he can become a good businessman. He can start a unit of manufacturing the musical instruments. He understands music, And he knows physics. And in physics, there is a subject, Dhwani or sounds naam ka subject jo hota hai. And he has a knowledge of accounts. So, but the parents will be, what will become? You are fool, don't take it, and all those things.
Sir, we have lost your voice, Sunil ji. Sunil ji, we have lost your voice. So,
Well, he has taken up a very beautiful example, uh, converting our own passion. He has joined back.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's some issues there. So what I was saying is that yes, there are ways, and because of the lack of awareness generate the fear, and that's why the parent doesn't allow the child to take the subject. The parents are all right at their part, but lack of awareness generates the fear. This is the duty of the educationist to an extent to make parents also understand the things that there are n number of careers, there are enough number of, don't worry. So that's a I think it's a very
Right.
good move to allow to choose the subjects. But yes, there should be the way also that to handle this. It will more the option, more the confusion. Now, how will you handle it? That needs to be taken care of.
Both the things goes together.
Yes.
right. Aditya ji, you were some points. So, I would request if you can continue.
No, I was just ensuring that the continuity is maintained. So I was just filling up the gaps. Okay, yes,
right.
what the point which he has taken up is very valid. With the help of NEP, a child's passion can be converted into a very beautiful career, and exactly this will not only make us enjoy our lives, but make it meaningful and help us to help others to empower. Because once, if we are fully satisfied, if I have a surplus of 1 lakh rupees, then only I am able to help others. Otherwise, if I am only in need of money, how will I be able to help others? Similarly, a child or a person who is himself not satisfied with life and not feeling happy and prosperous, then how will he be able to pass on the baton to the other fellow citizens or the learners, and goes on. So a very valid point by Sunil ji.
Absolutely, sir. In fact, we are also interacting, students. We are doing a lot of career counseling with students in different part of India. And I always say that, there is an overemphasis upon this word career. There is no, I believe there should be emphasis upon the word, instead of career choosing, we are choosing a life. you know uh, instead of looking for the career counselors or career counseling in that sense, like which career I have to choose, I must ask this question: which life I have to choose? If I choose to become a lawyer, so I don't just become a lawyer in my professional life. I will have to spend my life the way a lawyer spends. My routine would be like that. My friend circle would be, from lawyers. I would be reading. We need to understand that. And largely, I agree with Ashu ma'am, Aditya ji, and Sunil ji. What you have said, that largely हम लोग यही सोचते हैं कि स्कूल तक तो आप पढ़ाई करें, करियर के बारे में बाद में बात करेंगे, which has been a wrong approach.
Yes.
This
Right.
NEP has tried to correct that approach कि हमारा जब 18 साल का बच्चा होता है, 18 साल के बाद, 17-18 साल के बाद जब वो कॉलेज में जाता है, तब वो दुनिया को पहली बार देखता है. So most of the students, McKinsey came out with a wonderful report that 82% IITians, during their third year or final year, they start feeling कि IIT तो उनके लिए था ही नहीं, engineering was not for them. At a very, very late time in our respective lives, we realize, our interests and, our convictions, why there are so many dropouts in colleges, at higher education, in foreign countries, and they become successful entrepreneurs. We have, hundreds of examples, because they understand the, the meaning of their, the power of their conviction. They understand the kind of empowerment they can drive from their interest, at a very early stage. They get that exposure. So when this NEP proposes the integration of vocational studies, vocational skills, it goes in that direction. So, and we are very happy that we have, education leaders like Aditya ji, Ashu ma'am, who are very much willing, who understand these things. So now I would request Savio. Savio, I'll start your question from where the Sunil sir stop that. If a student, choose, I like to study chemistry, mathematics, also music. And let's say in every school there are 10 students who are, like that. They'll choose music with the commerce or with. Do we really have the kind of infrastructure? Do we really have the kind of number of trainers, expert trainers who can fulfill that kind of requirement?
That's a very interesting question, Bhajalji. What basically happens is that training the trainers is an integral part of most of the activities across this country, is what I feel. Whether it is music, whether it is any other subject, there is always going to be a dearth of experienced faculty which we are going to be facing around the country. That is the reason we have guidelines which are given for the B.Ed training program, which is now going to be a 4-year integrated program. Plus, they are mentioning over 50 hours of a hands-on training. I was not exactly able to spend a lot of time reading that, but having experienced trainers is a very big challenge. It is a very big challenge. Uh, the problem is not about getting a person to come and teach a specific topic on music. If we need to make it an integrated program with practical and your hands-on learning approach, then there needs to be a proper training program which is devised for the trainers, which will be devised for the teachers. And if we are looking at another 3-4 years, and if this is going to come in the mainstream, then getting instructors will not be a problem, is what I feel particularly. If that is unaddressed, and if we are only leaving it to the schools to search for instructors across India, then that is going to be a problem. Because if we are aiming to standardize something like music education, then there needs to be a single policy for music education and for music teaching also. And especially what quality of trainers do we want to put in schools, basically.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Savio. With this, we come to the end of this very special session of leadership talks. So now we enter into the concluding part of this session. I would request all our speakers, if you can share your concluding remarks. Also, one very interesting practice we have started that if you are, if you are given the chance to run the education of this country, if you become the Minister of Education of our country, so what would be that first priority of yours that you would like to implement at any cost as your priority? So we would begin with Sunil Dangi sir. Now this is a surprise, right? It's out of turn question. So
No, no,
Sunilji, Sunilji, what would be your priority as Minister of Education, or your concluding remarks?
Rajul, first, can you give some sort of guarantee that I can become our the education
So that
minister?
depends upon your idea.
That depends on my.
your that idea which you would like to implement.
Okay, okay.
Profile
Only on that
profile तो
basis I
वैसे ही
can
बनेगा
become
सर
the.
मोदी जी के सामने.
Only on that basis I can become the education minister, right? So. Okay.
ऐसा अब जी
That's why
जी sir.
I wanted to. That's why I wanted to study political science. You should have also studied. It's not that way. Only with the idea we can become the education minister. But yes, that's a very nice question. Yes, I wish that. I wish there should have been a system, and I think the new education policy has come after 34 years, and a lot of changes has come into that. So you know, अभी it's a मैं travel करता हूँ तो I can see lots of children at signals of age around 7, 8 or below those, right? They are even